Gus Alex's story begins in the early 1900s when his parents, Nikolaus Nick Alex and Christina Sipra Alex, emigrated from Crete and settled in Chicago's near South Side. They raised 8 children, including Gus, born on April 1, 1916, though some of his claims suggest he was born in 1914. During Prohibition, Nick Alex, a close friend of mobster Bruno Roti, opened a restaurant at 2604 South Wentworth, which quickly became a mob hangout. Known for his culinary skills, Nick earned the nickname Little Nick and was considered a mob associate. In the late 1920s and early 1930s, Gus's brother Sam R.I.P. Alex began his criminal career under Willie Heaney, a chief of staff for Al Capone. Sam infiltrated union rackets and became known for his violent enforcement, earning his nickname. Gus's first brush with the law came at age 19 in 1933, when he was arrested for a bar brawl that ended in a fatal shooting. This incident marked his entry into Chicago's underworld. By 1936, Sam Alex left Chicago under mob orders to avoid legal scrutiny, leaving Gus and their brother George to maintain his criminal activities. Gus continued to build his reputation, surviving several arrests and interrogations in the late 1930s and early 1940s, often being released due to lack of evidence or witnesses' fear of retaliation. Gus diversified his criminal enterprises, running gambling establishments, and forming alliances with powerful mob figures like Antonio Munizzo. Despite frequent arrests, he maintained a low profile and managed to avoid significant legal consequences. In 1940, Gus and Joseph Vinci were involved in a hit-and-run accident that killed a pedestrian. They were later freed of charges by a coroner's jury. Gus's gambling operations continued to grow, and even after police raids, he managed to have cases dismissed and seized equipment returned. By 1943, Gus owned one of the most notorious gambling establishments in Chicago, and despite being linked to several violent crimes, he repeatedly escaped conviction. His connections within the mob and ability to keep a low profile were instrumental in his rise. In 1947, Gus was employed at Atlas Brewing Company and involved in the Chicago Teamsters Union. His father, Nick's lavish funeral in 1948, highlighted the family's deep ties to the mob. Gus's career continued to advance. By the 1950s, he was deeply entrenched in the mob's operations, meeting with high-ranking figures and even appearing before Senator John McClellan and Robert Kennedy, where he invoked the Fifth Amendment. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Gus's influence grew. He was involved in international money laundering, had significant sway in the Chicago outfit, and was part of the ruling panel controlling the organization. He maintained high-level contacts and managed various illegal enterprises, including extortion and loan sharking. In the 1980s, Gus's criminal activities continued, but the legal noose tightened. His brother Sam's death in 1987 marked a personal loss, but Gus remained a significant mob figure until 1992, when he was finally convicted thanks to testimony from fellow mobster Lenny Patrick. Gus was sentenced to 188 months in prison and fined $250,000. Gus Alex died of a heart attack on July 24, 1998, while in a federal prison medical center in Lexington, Kentucky. His life journey from a mob hanger-on to a powerful underworld boss underscores the intricate and often brutal world of organized crime in mid-20th century America.